Welcome to MK Channel 40, and today we're going to talk about the art of leadership. And somebody in our group, John Allard, who has a lot of experience, is going to tell us what is essential to keep your community, their morale and their initiatives really moving to the best performance. So join me over the next few minutes and we'll learn the art of leadership. So Jono, thanks for joining us, and a lot of people have noticed you on the group. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been up to recently?
Hey John, great to be here. Thank you for having me. So I'm a board trustee for two local charities within Milton Keynes. One is Smart CJS.
Yep.
They run the Somewhere Safe to Stay hub in Bletchley.
Right.
Currently, obviously, they're housed with the rough sleepers in the hotels right now. So all our operations is now within the hotels.
Okay.
And the other one is MKPA, which is MK Play Association.
Right.
And they've definitely been ramping up and keeping parents sane during this challenging period for kids, because they've been providing mixed craft boxes to keep the children occupied and keep their creativity up during this isolation period.
And what took me into another aspect of your skills was you've recently gained a new accreditation with Toastmasters, and I think this is going to help in our discussion. But what's that all about?
So Toastmasters is a public speaking group. It's a non-profit organization where initially, for most people, they go into Toastmasters to overcome the fear of public speaking, delivery, and increase communication skills.
Okay.
But what comes with Toastmasters as well is the leadership aspects in terms of time management, effective communication, effective feedback, ways you can communicate with your co-workers and colleagues more effectively and more positively as well, in a way that inspires and empowers the other person.
So when we look at what sort of dystopian world we've now entered, nobody could believe the scale and the impact of the crisis. What do you think are some of the essential things that people really need to focus on so that they stay in command and, you know, inspire the people around them?
Well, number one that I would say is being compassionate. Now's the time to be more compassionate than ever. There's so much going on with the world right now, in terms of our communities, in terms of our families, with our friends. It's a skill that we need to pick up and show more of. There's so many people saying be kind, but yet when they comment on Facebook, on social media or any situation, they become nasty again. They say nasty things. They say mean things. They put up a fight. I mean, there's enough fighting going on with the front line already. Let's not do that within our own communities and with our own friends and families, especially during this tough period where we're all going through the same situation. None of us like it. None of us want to be in the situation, but it's the reality right now we have to face. It is challenging. But at least we're not in a war right now. We're just being told to stay home and stay safe.
So with the things that you're seeing when people come under pressure because they're surrounded by people who are being antisocial, or they've forgotten how it's like to walk in somebody else's shoes, how do you counsel them to keep their own mental health in good shape and also not, if you like, see that negativity spreading into the group around them?
Well, first I would say is take care of yourself. You need to make sure that you're maintaining your own emotional health, your own mental health, and making sure that you're checking in with yourself. Am I feeling stressed today? And if I am feeling stressed, why am I feeling stressed? Why am I feeling annoyed? Why am I feeling angry? Just have those little conversations with yourself before you react. I mean, this is one of the key skills of leadership, is especially in this world of being noise and media and negativity and all these things you see on the internet, which is easy to see right now. We don't know what's real, what's not. We have to do our own research. And before we jump to conclusions, as leaders especially, is we need to look at the facts. We need to look at the figures. We need to look at what's going on. We need to see where the resources are coming from before we start making executive decisions. Because without those transparent decisions that we make, we can't communicate that with our team, with our community, with the people around us, especially with those with kids. You have to explain to the kids. They don't know what's going on. They've just been told they can't go out. They don't know what the reason is, or they don't really understand it. But it's our duty as leaders and parents to maintain that transparency in communication.
I'll ask this question then, just to expand on that, because this kind of affects what we do here. And the way I often like to portray it is that when you're getting into conveying information to a community, you have a duty to be open and transparent, and there's good and there's not so good news. Now, what are your tips around the way that you handle the not so good news? Everybody likes good news, but how you as a leader get that right?
Again, that comes down to communication, but it's being calm and collective about it. I mean, there's a lot of things that when you present information, we always back it up with sources, which I like what you do. You present the information, but you back it up with sources and where they come from. And the thing is with running communities especially, is that we need to be more transparent with our own personal struggles as well. What we go through in our lives. We don't know what the person on the other side of the computer is going through right now. They might have just lost a family member. One of their family members might be in hospital. One of them might be in isolation or quarantine. We don't know what's going on. But we can still always be kind in the words we use and the words we choose to use. It's a choice of how we respond, how we react, the words we use, the language we use. And I think it's easy for us to be caught up in emotions, especially during this challenging time, because we're all isolated. We're all craving for connection. We're all craving for the comfort and safety. We all want that certainty, because right now it's uncertain. And what comes in with uncertainty is fear. And that's why people are panicking. They're making decisions based on fear. And they're being overwhelmed with unsolicited information or media and noise.
Let's just talk about fear, because my knowledge of human psychology is fairly rudimentary, but one thing I've picked up when I've gone to workshops and seminars or watched people on video is there's this thing called the amygdala, which is our kind of basic brain that just worries about the fundamentals of life. And it's a very powerful part of our brain because it kind of overrides the more objective side of things. What have you learned in terms of controlling your amygdala that you think other people could bring to the fore?
Well, the thing with fear is a illusion. It's something that's created, a story that we created within ourselves. It's, the thing with fear is you have to identify if it's fear or if it's danger. Danger is very real. Danger is definitely something that you need to avoid and you want to be safe. But with fear, it's something that we created a story within ourselves that might not be true, that we believe that it is true. And for example, it could be, some people say, I have a fear of heights. But for instance, do they really have a fear of heights, or is it because of a story that they've experienced when there was a kid or when there was a child, or something that they had a negative association with, that they now made up the story that are afraid of heights?
Yeah.
I mean, if we go to an elevator or things like that in high buildings, we feel safe. because it feels certain. We get that feeling of certainty. Oh, this is a platform. We have something underneath us. We're in a structure. We're in a tall building. We're quite a good safe.
Yeah.
But as soon as they look, over the balcony, and they're like, "Oh, that's scary," but there's still a boundary between them and the area, right?
Yeah.
There's still some safety between them. So you have to really understand what that fear is causing and where does it come from. There's sources of people, panic buying of toilet rolls and things, for instance. Thing is, we know toilet rolls is going to forever be produced and made. So why is there the fear of panic buying toilet rolls? So that's there's this elements of things that we need to be aware of. But really, what decisions are we making based off the fear? Is it something that's going to prevent us from being safe? Or is that something that's just something we need certainty? The way that we need to be calm and collective, especially as in this situation, as parents, as responsible adults, we need to be more responsible for our own behaviors and our own actions. How we behave, how we identify ourselves, and the things that we do right now is what's going to help. It's going to reflect off your team, your community. If one person starts panicking, it will spread that fear to everyone else.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a leadership position, in our board of trustees, or any sort of, if you're a manager or you're a director, you're managing a team, you need to be more calm and collective more than ever. Because everyone is relying on you to make that decision. They need that certainty. Yeah. And if they feel any fear from you or any uncertainty, they would get the same thing. And that would, it'll kind of have a negative impact in their performance. They won't feel safe and secure anymore. So you need to create that environment of being safe, especially in what I like about your group, John, is that you create that safety. You could be vulnerable, you could share your things. If you have any trouble, if you have any need for assistance, reach out for help. That's what the community group was created for. And that's the thing which is why now it's more important to reach out for help if you need it, right? And there's so many people that wants to help, that is able to help. I mean, there's some people that probably wants to help but can't help. But there's still others in the community that is, don't have things to worry about, or they're okay and agile enough to be flexible and take care of their own safety before helping others.
So let me just explore that. The job I have two jobs because I still have a little company to run. So I think I'm doing what you're doing. So I have my morning and evening calls with my team just to reassure them, tell them what's happening. I also open it up to questions from them so that they can ask me anything they want, and if they want a private conversation with me offline, we handle anything. And I kind of have tried to bring that spirit into the group and protect the group. And obviously you've seen us experience the usual people with strange conspiracy theories and people who don't like arguing with logic and things like that. But what kind of, for a community group, not necessarily this one, but what kind of threats would you see surrounding a lot of groups that can destabilize them? And, just like I have my team calls, what sort of strategies and tactics could defend and protect them?
Transparency. What I mean by transparency is any struggles and things that you're concerned about within your own personal life. It could be your family members. It could be even the financials, right? If you want to be completely transparent, say this is what the balance sheet looks like. We'll come over the other side. We may have to make a few cuts backs, or we may have to do a few reductions, or we're good. We're in a solid position. When we come out of it, we're good to bounce back. I mean, it's different for everyone, but that transparency is key for people right now. People want that certainty going, oh, okay, if we come back on the other side of this, what will happen as a company? Are we in a good position to bounce back and just hit the ground running again?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we going to be in a position where we have to make a bit of adjustments and a bit of planning, but we're prepared for it?
Yeah.
And if as long as they have that certain feeling, they say, okay, yeah, this is our finance sheet. This is what was going to happen within the next 6 to 10 months.
Yeah.
We're in good standing. We're in good position. We could make a plan and bounce back within that timeline.
Yeah.
Or we could be having that tough discussion, which no one really likes to do, but we have to make it. Is we could be making a few cuts back, or we may have to make some reduced hours.
Yeah.
For the time being, until we get some more white line back up again, and hit the ground running again, and then we could recall that position.
Sure.
And it's just having those clarity conversations with the team, so they have that certainty. Because there's so many people right now in the same situation. Is they may be in furloughed, but the company itself might not be in a good financial position when it comes back out of it. We don't know unless the company talks about it. I mean, there's probably not many companies that do talk about it, but those that do will have a stronger team morale, especially for those that just, we all need that certainty. Is what's going to happen after this?
Yeah.
Are we in good standing or are we not? Can you let us know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of companies that probably don't have that kind of communication with their team at all. For smaller businesses, it's easier. But even for bigger organizations, there's still, they could still have a HR department that call up each team member, like you do with your team, is, hey, if you need a private discussion or a private call, or just catch even just a weekly Zoom meeting and say, hey, how's it going? What are you up to? Are there any resources that I can supply you? I mean, there's so much skills and things and courses right now that's openly available to help people enhance their skills during this period, right? To keep themselves occupied, to keep themselves learning, to make sure their skills aren't dropping. There may be things that could help them increase better in personal development, in terms of communication skills. I mean, Toastmasters is now all our meetings are now online.
Sure.
So there's no excuse to not jump on a Zoom meeting at any club in the country or world right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
To practice communication skills or presenting on camera, because now we're in a digital world. We have to make sure we have a nice, clear background. We're presenting well. We're communicating still the same way as we would if we're in the office. We're just in a different environment, but doesn't mean our communication skills can't be practiced and trained up.
Yeah. I think also you said something very important about keeping yourself occupied. And I think if you're a leader of a group, you've got to stop thinking about your own sort of challenges and tasks, and maybe fill their lives with meaningful tasks and distract them away from worrying too much. Is that a good thing that you see as part of the sort of toolkit?
Yeah, definitely. You need a routine. Same as if just because we're not now commuting to work, it doesn't mean we still not have a routine. Or maybe even have a better routine now that we're working from home, is that we're not commuting an hour and a half, 2 hours each day to work. Yeah. Use that hour and a half, 2 hours to exercise in the morning or go for a walk in the morning. Clear your head out. Set yourself up for the day. It could be, there's so many things. Home workout nowadays, where everyone's moved online. There is no excuse not to look after yourself and your own well-being.
Yeah.
To start yourself off the day and still have the same structure. You start work at 8:30 or 9 or wherever it is till 5 or 6, wherever it is, and then you still have your evenings.
Yeah.
But what you do during that time, especially for those on furlough, is what skills could I be doing? Could I be doing a course? Could I work on a side project to practice? Could I film different things? If I'm in videographing, could I video different short stories? Could I practice on TikTok? I don't know.
Yeah.
Could I do more videos on Instagram? Things that just keep them occupied and keep their skills enhanced.
Perfect.
So they don't lose that spirit, because what you want to do during this period is do what you love, do what you enjoy. I mean, it's easy to forget routines during this period. We could like sleep late and then wake up late, but then that ruins the whole day of the structure.
Yeah.
And if we're not used to that, it could self-sabotage ourselves.
Absolutely.
If we don't look after our routines carefully, it could, self-sabotage ourselves. Especially, the first week we had the whole fear thing. The week 2, we're still coming to terms with the new norm of digital world. The 3rd and 4th week, we're starting to adapt.
Yeah.
We're now like in week 5 or wherever it is. Now it's time to make sure we're still keeping ourselves in check.
Yeah. Yeah.
We still need to make sure we're still in good terms when we come out at the end of this isolation period. We come back stronger. We come back better. We come back more effective. As a community, not just individuals, but we need to work together in terms of how we could overcome this together as a nation.
I think that out of everything you've said, I think that opening statement about compassion is key. And I've never met you. You come across as a person brimful of compassion, and I can also take away a lot of good things. I mean, it's been a good refresher for me, just to reassure me. So I hope this has been of use. But finally, what would you like in terms of interaction from the community? Because I can sense you're a very giving person. But what sort of, if people are interested in knowing more about what you do and how you can help, what sort of things would you like to be contacted about?
Well, if they need help with communications or leadership, any things with leading a digital community, I'm always happy to support and give some tips and guidance on what I found useful during this period, or even during my life period, in terms of my experience in personal development, but also in leadership and just things that I work with other business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders in general. Is yes, being compassionate is fundamental from my standpoint, in terms of my values and my personal ethics and beliefs. But I think it's one of the key things that people want to take away, especially after this, if they watch this interview, is be kind to yourself first and make sure you take care of yourself first before you take care of everyone else.
Yeah.
Because if your cup isn't full, you're not able to overflow that to everyone else around you.
Yeah.
And that's the same analogy everyone uses. I know everyone's bored of this, but it's a nice reminder, is if you're on an airplane, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you take care of others. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, you can't take care of everyone else around you. Yeah. And for any leaders, parents, or managers, or wherever you're doing, but even just any individual is a leader. It's a choice. It's a lifestyle. Leadership is a lifestyle choice. That's how I put it. You can choose to lead in any given moment you want. Yeah. It just takes that choice to say, I'll stop blaming everyone else. I'll take the responsibility of leading this. I'll make that decision. And be kind. There's no more reason to be more kind than now, more than ever. Yeah. But everyone just seems to be easily manipulated or influenced by negative media and negative emotions that's coming up. But takeaway is take care of yourself first.
Jono, thank you so much. Just to use your own analogy back on you, what you're saying in a nutshell is, if you're the captain of a jet, you've got to breathe the oxygen of compassion and kindness in order to save all the rest of the passengers and get them to a safe place. So I think with that note, I'll say goodbye to you, and obviously people can connect with you on Facebook. But it's been a really fascinating chat, one of the best I think I've had over the last few weeks. So thank you so much.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. So if you've something to say that you would like at the moment, this is just like an emergency community channel. The time that you've got to share and care for the community using video is all available. Just contact us via the Facebook group and you can tell us your tips and advice and your stories. That's all from me. Please join us for more interviews. I think the next one that we have is with a fantastic music group that's got about 1,000 members that's going to be looking after and showcasing all of the MK talent. We hope to bring you that shortly after we've finished this particular live stream. Bye for now.